Hi, welcome to another segment of Our Ventura TV. My name is George Alger, and today's guest expert is Paul Billock, who is a 3D printing enthusiast. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you.
So, Paul, I'm going to ask you some questions, but we're going to start out with the most fundamental. What is 3D printing?
Okay. 3D printing is a segment of what's called additive manufacturing, where a part or a piece is built by assembling layers of various material to make a complete part.
Good, and this is a machine that does 3D printing?
This is a machine that does 3D printing, yes.
And they come in different sizes?
Yes.
Okay. And the name Maker and MakerBot is one that I've heard of. So is that like the most famous machine, or is there many of them? How does that relate? MakerBot
is it was one of the first commercially available desktop 3D printers. The 3D printing industry has been around for probably, I think, 20 to 30 years.
Oh, it's been that long.
But just recently, it has become more common, widespread, with the desktop type 3D printing.
Okay, cool. Let's actually bring it up on the table so people can get a better sense of, what the size is, and maybe you could explain a little bit about what this machine does.
Okay. The basic function of this machine is it moves this print head in two directions. And one is the X direction.
Let's tilt it forward. Maybe some of the cameras can see it better.
One is the X direction and one is the Y direction. And so it moves the print head back and forth over this yellow platform. And then when it gets one layer complete, it moves the platform down and then starts over again to print the next layer.
Okay, so you're actually building something just a layer at a time.
Right.
And every layer can be different?
Right. Yeah, it's usually a very slight difference from one layer to the next because it has to make a complete shape on the outside of the piece.
Okay.
But it can change shapes from one layer to another as it's building the complete object.
Good. And is it a very specific kind of plastic that you use, or is all kind of plastics or all other kinds of media that you can use to build with this?
There are two types that this specific printer will use, but as the technology spends more time in the hands of the general population, they start playing around with different things, and there's more and more things coming available to print with, such as this one will use ABS plastic or PLA plastic. But there's also nylon types that you can print, and there's a plastic with wood fibers infused in it, and a number of other soft plastics that are becoming available now.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's look at a couple things you've made. Let's put this back down here. And so this is an example of something that came out of this printer.
That actually came out of a different printer, but it uses the same methodology to create that part.
Okay. So in this case, it looks like you made several layers of the base plate, okay, and then another layer which was the letters that spelled your name.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, I can envision that as being relatively simple, but when I look at something like this, I mean, that's amazing. So this, I'm guessing you printed as several pieces and then assembled it.
Yes. Yeah, that's several pieces that came from there's a website called Thingiverse, which is a repository where people can share models that they've created for other people to print their own copy. And so this is a little robot called Bob the Biped, and the feet and the two legs, and then a base plate, and then the head portion are all 3D printed pieces.
Wow, okay, so looks like it has some electronics associated with this. Does it move?
It doesn't yet.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't yet. It's still, it has the parts to move it, but it's missing the brain still.
Okay, very good. So you can make something pretty basic, or you could make something more sophisticated. Now, how sophisticated can you get with these machines?
Well, with the desktop machines, it's limited because of the precision and the resolution of the machine, but that's what makes them affordable. The more high-end commercial machines are used in manufacturing processes to create prototypes so they can get their hands on a piece and look at it and really feel it and test assembly of multiple parts to see if they fit. And so it really has a profound benefit to the manufacturing process when they can see a part, hours after they have designed it on the computer.
Cool. Yeah, so I can see how it would have invaluable application in the manufacturing process, and yet there are a lot of people such as yourself who are using on a personal basis, and so you can make some fun things. But what is it that drives you and what drives others to want to participate in this?
Well, one thing is neat being able to download ideas that other people created and make your own copy. But for me, what really is neat is being able to think of an idea, put it together in a computer program, and then have it become physical reality, and watching it assemble on the 3D printer. It's really fun and exciting.
Wow, okay, cool. So, we're looking at some still fundamental things here. Where do you see this going in the next couple of years?
For the desktop market, I think it will become more available, and people will come up with ideas that are more accessible to the general population, and I think it will just get people to create more things that they think up.
Okay, so let's just explore that for a moment, though. Would this be, when you say create things that they think up, would you say it's primarily an art media, or could be an art media, or would it be something that you can fix things around your house? I don't know what kind of things you could create a part, for instance.
Right.
I'm trying to think of maybe an artistic and a practical application of it.
Right. There's definitely a lot of people who use this media for doing art and artistic things. The use for creating things to fix a part at your house there's limited use for that, because, well, if those parts if the model is available, it might be reasonable. But if you have to create the model to create the part, then it can be a lot more time consuming. You don't want to spend 3 hours building a model for a 25-cent part that you can go to the store and pick up.
Makes sense. Well, then, when you look at your future evolution with 3D printing, what do you think you'll be doing with this machine or another machine in, a year or 2 or 3 years?
I think the biggest thing that I'll be using it for is other ideas that I have that need parts that I can't go pick up off a shelf at a store. I can spend the time, create the part, and then print it out. And that'll probably be the biggest uses. Not necessarily for the fun of printing it, but to make other things happen.
Okay, cool. And then, are you aware of this having sort of home-based business application as well?
There are quite a few people who are doing that. There's a lot of places called service bureaus, which are more high-end, which use high-end printers, and some people are using desktops to do various things. But I think what the neatest thing is in business related is people have ideas for things to make as a business opportunity, and these printers let people take their ideas and move forward with that idea instead of just thinking about it and not knowing what to do with that idea, and then it just goes away.
Okay, good. So yeah, just translating ideas from your head into the real world. So cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're just about out of time here. Is there any, I don't know, closing statement that you'd like to make regarding 3D printing?
It's really fun and interesting, and use this to bring your ideas to life.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.